Welcome back to Greenlands and the penultimate episode of this £10 million debt challenge series thingy. So I've just been giving the beef cattle some feed. I forgot to hit record, basically, but the plan is to get them fed and watered and fattened up for sale. Yeah, so I'm going to skip ahead to September and we will get the beets harvested. Yeah, I think that's the plan for today. So last words, Jesus, talk man. Penultimate video of this series. The next one is going to be the silage harvest. It's been fun. It's kind of weird actually. I was chatting on Discord about it, doing some of the things for the last time on here, having started playing this 14 months ago, is very strange. So we're going to get all of the beef loaded up and sold, if I can get myself in the trigger, that is. Yeah, I didn't expect it would take this long, if I'm honest. It's a stupidly long time to be playing a series on a map. Not that many episodes. It's partly a function of there's always two things, isn't there, when I talk about this stuff. So there's the fact that in the middle of this series, I lost, well, no, my good laptop broke and had to go and be repaired, and my old laptop couldn't play this save. And there's also the fact that because I was running too many saves previously, running 3 saves at the same time was a bad idea. It just took a long time to get through this series. So that's what it is. So let's get this first load sold. 2.5 grand per cow. So £76,000. That's not a bad return, is it? On 2 years that we had these, I think we had them about 2 years. You could get more if we kept them longer. I think they peak at, I can't remember what they peak at actually. I should have done a bit of research, but either way, they're 21 months old, so getting a decent price for them. I did the very cheaty thing of not feeding them for pretty much the entire time they were grazing for some of the year, but this is the last load going in. We have made a lot of money out of these. There was a lot of trips backwards and forwards. The brown Swiss that we had were not worth anywhere near as much. Dairy cows don't sell for as much for meat for whatever reason. Not sure if that reflects reality or not. But that's everything sold from the beef pen, and that was £610,000. So yeah. If you're not feeding them, you can make a decent amount of money out of beef, but it does take quite a long time. So it's September now. This is the last game day we are going to play on this save, and I'm going to lease the beet harvester that we need. I spent a bit of time faffing about which one, but we're going to go for the Tiger 6S. We don't have any risk this time of parking it in the river, unless I get really lost. We're far enough away that shouldn't be an issue this time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch. I think it was the first time I harvested beets on here, and I might have parked a beet harvester in the river at the bottom of the hill. That's the other side of the farm, so we should be fine here. And I'm actually going to be using the keyboard button box thingy that I did the video on, and I was mega impressed with it, if I'm honest. It was, why am I saying if I'm honest? I don't know, I'm just making up, I'm filling space with words, I guess. Yeah, I was really pleased with it. It worked really well. I was using it on my laptop down sit in the recliner. What it does need, and I might have to have a chat with one of my friends that's got a 3D printer, is it could do with a little stand to put it on an angle. I ended up propping it up on a box for some Bluetooth headphones, just to give it a little bit of an angle so it was easier to see everything. It's the only thing I would probably change on it. I think over time it's something where I might change some of the keys, but that's the really cool thing about it, is it's just a case of printing out a new little bit of paper to stick in the keycap and remapping some buttons. Obviously, it's not as nice as an Elgato Stream Deck where it's all digital, and you could just swap the icon and that kind of thing, but it cost 30 quid rather than 180. I guess there are things that there are more things that I would like on there. I could see me getting another one, maybe for setting up for video editing or for recording OBS and that kind of thing. So into the beet harvest anyway, and I love playing around with crab steer when I'm using a beet harvester, and I do actually finally know why they do this. So I asked the question last time I was doing beet harvesting, I think, and it is to help with compaction, because obviously these are big heavy beasties and you're spreading that load across a wider area. You've not got 6 wheels running behind each other, so that's why they do it, to help with compaction. I don't do it perfectly by any stretch, and I'm going to stop using it at some point, but it was kind of fun to play with, particularly as I have on that keyboard that I was just talking about a button to switch the steering mode. So yeah, it was kind of fun to play with. I've added, you can see from the HUD, I've added an enhanced vehicle so that I can have a play with the GPS feature in that. Again, it's really nice, really like it. I'm not sure whether I like it more than VCA, but it's going to become a regular feature, I think. I like the fact that it has a headland mode that VCA doesn't have, and you can just set it to switch off cruise control, which is quite nice. You can set it to turn as well. So you could, in theory, just stick headland mode on turn and hit cruise control and hit GPS, and it'll do a lot of the work for you. Kind of like headland management mode, I guess, which is a mod I really need to get back into. Funnily, I have a tutorial on how to use it, but I haven't used it in such a long time that I'd probably have to go back and watch it again to work it out myself. I don't think headland management integrates with enhanced vehicle. It does with VCA and with Wobster's guidance steering, but I'm not sure it does with enhanced vehicle. The reason that I went with one of the reasons I went with enhanced vehicle is that it's on the farming agency multiplayer, and I would like to be able to use it on that. So that was reason one. Reason two is it has the independent front and rear controls for the PTO and for raising and lowering. Now I know you can do both as well with base game. I used those a few times, you know, like with Control V, Control X, Control B. Control X, I quite like that, unfolds or folds everything. I always found Control V to raise and lower doesn't work. The timing doesn't work how I like it, because it does put a delay between them, and it doesn't always take, I find. So having the independent controls is really nice. Eagles did say that that's built into VCA as well. I need to go and have a look, because I don't remember seeing it, but I got to admit, once I have a mod set up how I like to use it, I don't go back and look. So yeah, I'm really liking that little keyboard. It's really nice. It's cool that it remembers everything. I've not plugged it into the other computer yet to check that it works on the other computer, but I see no reason why it wouldn't. So I'll test it at some point and I'll let you guys know. I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point, basically because I forgot in yesterday's video. Kind of out of practice at doing this, having had a bit of time off again over the long weekend in the UK. And I've got a bunch of videos ready to finish off. I just need to get them finished. So I've got a map picked for where we're going to go next from here. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but I have got a map picked, and kind of excited. My plan is still to go for an arable farm initially. There is definitely the potential there for a farm that I would like to use for cows. I know, stop. I'm initially going to do an arable farm on there. I haven't picked out a yard that I plan to use. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to start. I think the consensus that I got when I asked before was to do a start from scratch, which I might do. So If you've got any preferences for how I should start my new arable farm, stick them below. But start from scratch is kind of my favourite mode to start on, so it's probably going to be start from scratch. I don't think I'm going to have any, you know, like the £10 million debt challenge that I had on here, or how Maypole has rules. I don't think I'm going to have any of that. Initially, I'm just going to start playing. I do need to have a goal, because I find that I enjoy it more if I have a goal. So if you've got some suggestions for some goals, stick those below. I may or may not take them, you know. But yeah, I'm not sure. I might just start playing and see where we go, because that'll probably inspire me to come up with some sort of goal. Yeah. I'm not sure how it's going to work out though. Initially, I thought we would end up finishing this up on over the weekend. It's now likely to be early next week that this finishes, because there's a few more videos that I want to squeeze in and I missed a day. So it may have come out before this, it may come out after this. I want to do a video on the Wardrobe Plus mod from Braven, just to go through. There is a really good set of instructions in that mod, as you know, how to create your own custom stuff. But someone did ask them for a German tutorial, which I can't do, but I can do an English one. And I think we might try and somehow get a German sound voice over for it. Possibly Braven might record a voice over for me. Don't know yet. We'll see how that worked out. That'll probably come separately afterwards. But yeah, had to play with it last night. I was so tired last night. I was in the office yesterday, and it took me pretty much 4 hours to get home from work, because there were a couple of accidents on my route, and having left home at 5 in the morning, I got home at about 7 p.m. So I didn't really do much yesterday when I got home. It really when I get home at that time, I tend to not end up with much of an evening, because I'm really tired. And yeah, but I did have a bit of a play with that mod, and how to create your own custom clothes. So I found that my logo doesn't work very well at all, because it's made up of a bunch of elements, and when you scale it, the dragon hunter head thing just goes all wrong. Dragon head, it just goes all wrong. So yeah, I'm probably not going to use that for the tutorial. I will give some hints about how to deal with things like that, but yeah. Speaking of logos, you may or may not have noticed the merch store has vanished. There's 2 reasons for that. It's always 2 reasons. I don't know why there's always 2 reasons. The first one is I was never that happy with the merch that I set up, and I never bought any of it. And a couple of you bought the mug. In fact, 3 of you bought the mug. But I was never really happy with it. It had the logo that was slightly offset, so I think I removed everything but the mug anyway from that. And then I wanted to refresh it, so I sat and did that on Monday. I think it was Monday. I sat and had a play around with Teespring and did a few new bits. Basically remade the mug again, the Disturbed mug, with the logo sorted, and I did a couple of other bits as well. And then when I went to launch the store, it complained about copyright violation, and I went back. The bit that's the center of the logo came from Shutterstock. I did a trial on Shutterstock, and I have a license for it. I'm allowed to use it, but there are some limitations on using it for physical things. And I couldn't be bothered to chase it anymore, given that it was, you know, so far there were 3 mugs sold in about a year. So there is no merch store anymore. There is no merch anymore at the moment. So if you're one of the 3 people that have got a mug, you have something that is very limited. I don't even have one. So yeah, at some point I may do it again, but at the moment there is no merch. I just can't be bothered to sort out the copyright stuff. I have a license for using that logo. It's an unlimited license for digital stuff, so I'm fine to use it for all of the branding that I do. I was pretty sure when I set it up that I'd checked all of that, because, you know, I don't want to have to change it in the future. I just can't be bothered to go through the detail of the physical use versus digital use and the limitations for it for doing merch. It wasn't a problem before, so I don't understand it, but, you know, I can't be bothered. So if you're wondering why it's gone, that's why it's gone. So I do have auto drive set up to do the karting, and you will have seen at least another trailer. So we've got 2 trailers, so we've got 2 options for karting. Auto drive kind of struggled with the beet harvester, to the point where in the end, once I'd done enough headlands, I put the beet harvester on a base game worker, and I took over karting because it was going to be quicker. And I wanted to do some of the karting as well, you know. So we're kicking out a bit of crab steer there. You might do that after you've got around the corner. I was kind of enjoying playing with the new buttons. I know I'm a child, so yeah. I do have auto drive set up. It just wasn't being very useful or helpful today. I think some of that is operator error. I did try and set it so that it would stick to the field and avoid fruit, but it didn't seem to listen to that. And because the hedges on here don't have collisions, it was just kind of doing what I wanted. It's a reoccurring theme of using auto drive on here. I am hoping, so the last episode is going to be the silage harvest that we have left, and I am hoping to use auto drive for that. I have it all set up ready. I hope it works. We'll see. We'll talk about that when we get to doing it, but yeah. I've not done a lot with beet harvesting, or, you know, like the big root crop harvesters, so maybe it's a function of that. I did try on it's just not part of a maypole video. On maypole, I was doing some root crop harvesting contracts over the weekend, and I found on that auto drive didn't work particularly well either. So maybe it's a root crop harvester thing. I don't know. Yeah. It's as I said, it's quite weird that after 14 months on and off of playing this, I did have at least a month where I wasn't playing it, where the laptop was gone. Might have been 2. It took forever to get the laptop fixed. That I'm not going to be playing this anymore. I have one more video to record. I haven't actually recorded the gameplay yet. That one might be an almost live. I'd actually considered doing it as a live stream if it had worked out that it would be on a Friday, so I could do it on a Friday afternoon. But it's not going to, so probably that'll be an almost live, I think is the plan. You might notice that some hooligan drove through the field. We've had a bit of a problem locally with like the off-roaders, you know, come driving through fields and stuff. So unfortunately we did lose some crop to that. It's a bit annoying, you know. It is what it is, I guess. You know, you can't help it sometimes with people. Clearly they were ploughing through the hedge across our field, and I think they must have gone across the other field and out the back of the farm or something. Annoyingly I didn't catch them, but you know, a bit frustrating. We're now waiting for auto drive to respond. One of the cool things about enhanced vehicle is you get things like your fuel, the little fuel HUD that comes up, which tells me I'm burning 1,000 litres an hour nearly of fuel, which is nuts. So much fuel. I guess these big things do just eat fuel. I don't know how many horsepower it is, but it must have a massive engine in it to run all the harvesting equipment. It'd be incredible to see one of these things in real life. I know the local farm grows potatoes, but I think they use much smaller harvesting kit. I've never seen them doing the harvest for potatoes. I've seen them combining, but I've never seen them do the potato harvest. It's because the fields that they tend to have potatoes in are a bit more remote. I don't know why. My guess is it's they grow them in the fields that are closer to the local river stream thing, where I suspect they can irrigate from, because it's so we're going to do a bit of, we're just getting the GPS going. I'll come back to potatoes in a minute. They're just getting the GPS going. So this was literally 2 buttons to get to work, and job done. I love it. So easy. Yeah, so the farm that grows them has some fields which are next to a local stream, where I suspect they are allowed to irrigate their fields from, because it is always overflowing. Through the winter it floods quite a lot, and spring and autumn it floods quite a lot. Summer it's always high, so I think they probably are allowed to irrigate the fields from there, which makes sense as to why they farm those fields for potatoes rather than the ones that I see more often, because they're further away, so they'd have to pump water further. That would be why they do it that way, I would think. So, yeah, but maybe I'll try and get out that way occasionally as we get into potato harvesting time, and see if I can see it. They've rotated their crops a bit this year, so I'm hoping that I might see a little bit more as they get into combining. We'll see. I really wish there was a way. This is a bit random. So my daughter used to be friends with the daughter of, before I was into farm sim and therefore more into farming, used to be friends with the daughter of the manager of the local farm. Being teenage girls, they fell out. They're not friends anymore, which would have been so convenient if she was. Auto Drives had a moment there, you can see. Auto Drives had another moment. Yeah, that would have been so handy. They have some really cool kit. They're the ones with the big fence, and would have been really handy, you know. But as it is, nope, they fell out. So that's a negative. Anyway, let's untie these 2 tractors. Yeah, Auto Drive just did not behave well today. Well, at the weekend. I think it was the weekend when I was doing this. Yeah, it must have been. So, Auto Drive did not want to behave at all. Which is why in the end I stuck the harvester on a worker, because I could then cart and avoid things like this. The rate that I was harvesting meant that if I was carting, I could use 1 carter rather than needing 2, which was a bonus. Yeah. As I mentioned, and I'm recording the commentary for this video a little while after yesterday's video, the new DLC, the Hay and Forage DLC, and I'm going to use the D word. It's disappointing that it's just equipment. I sort of mentioned that yesterday. It would have been nice, but you know, and why I think it's disappointing it's just equipment is we can get equipment in mods easily enough. Now we can get game-changing mechanics in mods. I'm playing with Maze Plus, which is pretty game-changing, which is a mod. But there are some things I think that Giants do better adding in functionality, because it's all platforms. So like with the Vermeer and the Goville DLC, you get the bale counter. So it would have been nice, I think, if the DLC had included some sort of enhanced functionality. But it doesn't. So, you know. It is what it is, but it would have been nice if it wasn't just a vehicle pack. And I think it's quite a niche vehicle pack. There are some things in it I could see me using. There are the bigger there are some forage wagons in there. There's an interesting looking windrower, but all the small kit probably not. And it suggests that it feels a lot like the Alpine DLC again. Except I think it looks like all of the tractors that are part of it are quite small, and I bet they're small and they don't include a front loader. because giants hate me. I still wish that the grape pack that we got in year 1 had front loaders. That little, I keep saying it, that little Mac R mini quad track with a front loader would just be awesome. Maybe an FS25, I guess, because it's locked in a DLC, so even if someone hacked it out and modded it, I wouldn't use it because it's locked in a DLC, and there's my funny principles on things. Just talking about that, there was I think it's on King Mods. There's a Caterpillar. I think it's an old Caterpillar 2-track tractor. That is a convert from FS19, which was a convert from FS17, and it's a convert not by the original modder. And so I have had this whole dilemma of I couldn't find anything that said they had permission from the original when they converted from 17 to 19, and then they've converted from 19 to 22, and it's like, it doesn't, some will say it doesn't look awesome. It doesn't look like a shiny new FS22 tractor. The textures are quite flat, but I think because it's an old tractor, that's fine by me. I'm pretty sure I used it in FS19 because it was in FS19. It was on Yes Mods. Was it Yes Mods? I think it was Yes Mods, because I actually went back and looked at that site. It was on it was from there in FS19, and I think I used it on Sandy Bay in FS19, or maybe before I made videos and before I was more aware, but which is entirely possible. But I'm pretty sure I remember using it. And so I had this whole dilemma of it's a tractor that I really like. It's a tractor that's quite rare, and it would look really cool in thumbnails, but I can't convince myself that there is a traceable path of permission. And it seems to be the case so often with tractors that I'd really like to play with, that it's really hard to find a traceable path of permission. There's the TW35s on King Mods, and I did ask the guy who uploaded them if he had permission from MattXJS, and he said no, I don't. So for me, that's a no. You know, it's like MattXJS is certainly on things like Facebook, so you could ask him. He might say no, and maybe that's why people don't ask. And in my view, if they haven't asked and got permission, I'm not going to use it. So the Ford. Now I might be shooting myself in the foot there, because I did use a Ford on Calmsden that may not have been a approved convert. If I did, you know, that was my bad. The little Ford that I've been using is the one that's on ModHub, and that has got Matt's permission, so I'm okay with that. Yeah. And I'm human. We're all going to make mistakes with this kind of thing. I think the thing that as players we should do is try to be better and respect modders. I know some of you have changed from me whinging about stuff like that, and you know, because the thing is, and yeah, some modders do make a bit of money out of modding. Some of the bigger ones probably make a fair bit out of things like Patreon and stuff. Most of the guys that make the mods that you use every day do this as for fun and as a hobby. And if they make a little bit out of ModHub, awesome, you know. Having spoken to some, I know that the numbers of amounts they are making are in the tens or hundreds of euros, and small hundreds. You know, more likely in the tens of euros for what they're getting from ModHub for maps and things. So, you know, they're not doing it for money, but if they get fed up, we won't get these things, you know. And it can be that it's how other people in the community respect their work that's the thing that stops them doing it. So, and I had it with It's a different scale. But with the UK growth thing, where I've had people use it without asking permission, the last one that did it, I deleted the files from MediaFire, or yeah, with the site that I used to share them. I deleted the files. I removed it from King Mods because I was like, I'm fed up. It's easy enough to find me to ask. You could ask me through King Mods for one, and it's like I'd had enough basically, and that's one file. And it took me quite a while to create that one file. But if you've made a whole map and someone just copies it and then makes it look a bit different, that'd be so annoying. Or any other vehicle. Or if they've done a half-assed convert from FS19 to FS22 and released it, and it's got, you know, just adding the person's name as a credit without getting permission is not enough, in my opinion. That doesn't cover you, is my view. So yeah, bit of a rant. I will say that doing that UK growth file, which I did for originally my own benefit. I wanted a UK growth calendar when I was playing Calmston. That opened up so many opportunities. Obviously, it was included in Calmston in the end, in the update. That was cool. And it's through that I've actually got talking to and made friends with a couple of map creators, and yeah, it's been really good. I think it's been definitely a positive for me. It came with some stress that made me question whether I should have done it or not, or just kept it to myself, but overall it's been a positive. It is going to be in Court Farms, and it actually, as of today, it may include some extra special bits for Court Farms, so we'll see. Oxy reached out to me about doing some bits to it, so we'll see if that works out or not. But yeah, you know, I think having done that one thing and doing the mods that I've done, it gives me more of an appreciation for the amount of work that goes into creating a mod, and therefore the frustration modders would feel when it's stolen. So yeah, I've switched to karting. We're in cab, which is very rare for me. Partly, I find it quite hard to play in cab, and also because I play on keyboard, the steering wheel is very on-off, and I think sometimes that can look annoying in cab, particularly on a time-lapse, which I don't do as often these days, but yeah, I can feel it. I find it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit, yeah, so, but a little bit of in-cab work to bring a load of beats over. Yeah, so clearly we are not going to be selling the beats. There's a whole load of stuff on the farm that we're just going to leave, because we achieved the goal of paying off the £10 million loan a long time ago now. We're almost £10 million plus, so, you know, I don't need to go and sell the rest of it. We're just finishing out the year, really. And having said about me being karting, I am now back in the beet harvest to finish off the last little bit of this last beet harvest on here. So we just have one field of maize to chop for silage. So the reason I've been doing this on half time is there is bad weather coming later in the day, and I don't want to have to go through the cycle of feeding the animals again. It's been so much work feeding all these bloody animals, so it's why I'm playing on half time. The next video will follow on straight after this. I've between this video and recording the next one, I have set everything up. I've actually posted some pictures of it on Discord of the setup we've got ready for the silage harvest. I've been inspired by FSG's video, his stream he did over the weekend, I think, doing his big silage harvest with the Richard Weston trailers. So those will be making an appearance in the next video. I've got a nice fleet of tractors lined up to hopefully have a successful auto drive powered silage harvest. That's the plan. We'll see if it works or not. It may not. I may end up getting very frustrated. So something I'm pondering for the next map, because it's worked quite well on Maypole. No guarantees is some jobs, if I can time it right, I may do as multiplayer. They may still be just patron. I may add in the YouTube channel members. The reason I'm mentioning it is because it's going to mean that part of the problem is this is an edited map. It's full of edited mods. And so probably what I'll be doing for the next one is I won't edit the map. I won't be using edited mods or anything like that. So that I have the option to be able to turn it into a multiplayer for some jobs, because I think doing things like silage harvests are fun to do as multiplayer. They work better as multiplayer. So no guarantees, but that might be part of the next series. It's not going to be like Maypole. It's not going to have a contracting thing. It's not going to be a core part of how the series works. It might just be something that every, when I'm doing a big silage harvest, I open it up to multiplayer, that kind of thing. Or if I've got like a big root crop harvest, I might do it. But it's not going to be like Maypole. It's not going to be a multiplayer that's available for patrons persistently. I think that server might still be up, actually. I might need to check that. That's the disadvantage of going to the office for work, is I forget some of these things. Yeah. But I might include it because it's fun. It's been fun doing it on Maypole. And the one that FSG did looked awesome. It seemed like so much fun. And for me, I don't often do voice with multiplayer because I'm quite often sat downstairs with Mrs. D and we're watching TV and stuff. But it did look like a lot of fun. I think he had like 5 or 6 people on there. So yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. Mark, who's one of the patrons and is occasionally on Maypole 1, was crashing a lot. So yep, maybe we'll keep him away from anything fragile or valuable. But that is beet harvest done on Greenlands. So just the maize to go. It's very weird. It's very weird. I'm going to do a really bad job of unloading the beet harvester, and then we'll have a look at how much we got. It's a pretty decent yield actually off of here. It's a decent field. It's a big field. So yeah, I think things I might have done differently on here, particularly if we hadn't have added Maize Plus in, and I think I did talk about it, is I would have brought a lot more land. But as it is with running Maize Plus, there's been a lot of time in feeding so many animals. The dairy cows have eaten a lot. They need a lot of feed every day. The sheep haven't been too bad, particularly with grazing, but dairy cows ate a lot of feed. And I think probably if we were going longer, I would have had to expand anyway to keep up with that feed. Not necessarily from a silage point of view, but I did mention that straw we ran out of, so we would have needed more fields for straw. Yeah, I think we would have probably needed to be producing more feed. Anyway, that's the last trailer full. I'm going to say thanks for watching now. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. If you've enjoyed the series, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions below. I've asked a bunch of questions as we've gone through, so try and remember them all and answer them. Hopefully I'll remember them if you do comment. And we'll take a look at just how much we got. I think it was about 300,000 litres. I think we got about £100,000 worth. We'll quickly use time saving stock check to check. So yeah, 347,000 litres, which is worth about 100 grand. Pretty nice. I will see you next time on Greenlands for the last episode and a nice silage harvest to wrap the series up.